What if he's working for them?
By the way, we're recording. Yes, my cat is now working for the CIA. Alright, everybody, welcome to the podcast, the semi-weekly podcast when some of us forget to turn up. But yeah, hi Ferrets, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good, and we just found out that the cat works for the CIA.
Yes, my cat is now an informant for the CIA. Hashtag totally believable. Every time we go to start a show, he wants to start playing. It's got to be. He's running interference for the DNC. Alright, so guys, obviously we're going to break down the topics from the last week and this week, which is not a lot when it comes to this week, so it's going to be very heavily focused on last week's show. But let's just jump straight into it because we have some massive breaking news regarding Dr. Disrespect.
Oh boy.
He admits to inappropriate messages with a minor. Doc says on Monday he's going to take a break and start something new. Now, he has since then come out and said that he will be back streaming. So, Guy Beckham, or Heshi Guy Beckham, better known as his popular streaming name persona as Dr. Disrespect, saw his lucrative Twitch channel suddenly go away 4 years ago with no specific reason given to the public. Now, obviously reported to Twitch Future called Whispers. So what this basically means, or what's basically happened was, when he was streaming, all of a sudden we heard about Doc getting banned from Twitch. And there was no official reason given to us as to why. It was just rumours and stuff like that. But the rumours was he was doing something inappropriate, right? First of all, we're going to break down the facts, and then I'm going to tell you what I think. It has something to do with the Whispers and Twitch, but here's the thing. They had to pay him out for his contract. So does it say here somewhere? Doesn't say. But yeah, he actually had to be paid out by Twitch, which was really, really interesting at the given time. And then he is let go from. Now he's been let go from his gaming studio following the evolutions or the revelations that are coming out, saying that now it's appearing that he was contacting or in contact with a minor. So 4 years ago, Twitch popular streamer Dr. Disrespect, aka real name is Guy Beckham, from his platform for unknown reasons. Former Twitch employee, he asked to remain anonymous when they spoke to The Verge, explained that a significant amount of time had passed from what Beckham had allegedly sent a message between himself and a minor. That is possibly linked to the claims that the new comments from the Cody Corners, another former Twitch employee who worked in the company's strategic partnership. It's saying that he was... so the gist is he got banned because he caught sexting a minor and then existing Twitch Whispers product. He was trying to meet up with her at TwitchCon. This is what they're claiming, right? The powers that be could read in plain text, case closed. Gag. Gang, sorry, but I say gag. But we have things coming out now where it seems like it's not exactly on the level. For example, if it was just the fact that he was text mining or texting a minor, why would they pay out his contracts, right? Dr. Disrespect talks about time to take away from streaming after Midnight Society cuts ties, which is the game studio. I get why the game studio has cut ties because there was like 50 employees or 55 employees at the time. Although I do think the game studio is basically dead after this. But yeah, like I say, at the end of the day, it's a very weird situation that some of us are sort of sitting there saying like, hey, like, this doesn't really make sense. And we haven't really got any proof of anything. So obviously Keemstar has done a poll that had 42,000 views. 54% said innocent, and 45% said guilty. So, like, even amongst a sizable poll we're getting 54.8% of people saying he's innocent. Now, this is where it's starting to get really, really interesting, because now we're starting to get whispers about how it's actually the fact that he might have been set up by the Twitch or the Twitch staff in order to get done and to get banned off the platform. I know this is a little bit of a conspiracy theory, but we're going to jump into it. So the whole disrespect thing is incredibly wild and just keeps going. Confirmed Doctor's disrespect was reported by Twitch to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children when they were illegally recording whispers by the doc back in 2017. A full investigation was authorized and no wrongdoing was found. And no illegal activity took place by Dr. Disrespect. No arrests were made, no charges were filed. So here's the thing, right? If he's trying to meet up a minor and he's meeting a minor, why was there no wrongdoing found? Why was there no illegal activity? This is where a lot of people are starting to think that Twitch staff were trying to set up the doc, pretending to be a minor, so that they could actually get him banned from the platform. So it's also unconfirmed that the minor was actually a former Twitch employee pretending to be a 17-year-old girl and trying to bait Doc with entrapment techniques while the ex-Twitch mod was illegally recording it all. They were all fired soon as and sued by Dr. Disrespect's legal team. They are very bitter over this, and this is why the whole thing is coming out for a second time, and it's already been dealt with. So, I know you haven't been following this a lot, Fez, but after what I've said, what do you think? What are your initial thoughts when it comes to this doc thing? Do you think he was texting a minor? Do you think they were trying to set him up? What were your thoughts?
Well, that's a kind of like hard to actually say, because I mean, we just don't know enough of what's actually going on. We're just hearing things from two different sides of the argument, but we're not hearing anything from Dr. Disrespect himself, though.
Yeah, and obviously it's always innocent till proven guilty, right? That obviously should be the moniker. But, you know, like even here, we've got that Subway has officially ended its sponsorship deal with the streamer. Look, do we think that it's beyond Twitch staff to try and set up Doc and try and get him banned from the platform? Hell no. I would not put it past him whatsoever. But, you know, at the end of the day, that, like, also, here's the question too. If he was texting a minor and if it wasn't them trying to set him up and all this sort of stuff, why was he not charged by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking as well. Like, if it actually is a serious thing, such as that, the proper authorities should have been notified.
Yeah. Yeah. So apparently we do have some of the texts that have come out. Damn, you got a sexy profile pic. Just how old are you anyway? I'm an individual minor who likes to watch your streams on Twitch. Doc, oh yeah, that's hot. You should send me some pics, babe. And then Twitchbot is okay, do you prefer JPEG or JPN format? And he said JP me up, baby.
So if you ask me, that right there doesn't sound like a minor is talking.
No.
That that sounds a little bit too specific.
So Twitch used underage AI chatbot to entrap Doc. Is the leaked messages showing that Twitch is using an experimental AI chatbot to catch potential predators using their platform. Chat logs show the streaming personality, Dr. Disrespect, was terminated after engaging in inappropriate conversations with the bot. But like I say, yeah, it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't sound like a kid. Like, he says, you got a profile pic. How old are you anyway? And it says I'm an individual minor. No one under the age of 18 is going to say I'm an individual minor. They're just going to
No.
say I'm 17, I'm 15, I'm 14, whatever. Don't get me wrong. He shouldn't be texting a minor either. But
No.
yeah, but like I said, the investigation was conducted and there was nothing that was found to be effective or against the law. But yeah, I don't know. What are your final thoughts on this, dear?
Uh, really not for sure. I can't really make a decision on something like this. Although I do have to say though, like the way that that the person was talking didn't really sound like a kid.
No, no. Maybe that's why they settled in court. Because at the end of the day, that that maybe like, and look, to be honest, like, just because you got him saying like one or two lines of like like, hey, hit me up and all this sort of stuff, it's entirely possible that he was busy doing something else and was just not taking much notice either.
No,
Or when he says, like, you should send me some pics, like, he doesn't say nude or sexual. He just says, hey, you should send me some pics, which is still creepy, I suppose. But I don't know. But all right, let's jump on to the next thing. Ferrets. Apparently, Elden Ring is too hard.
oh yeah, I've heard about this.
So the new Elden Ring DLC, Shadows of Entry, is now has mixed rating from users reviewed on stream after complaints about the rock hard bosses as well as the performance issues.
Whoa, hold on. Did you just say that those bosses were rock hard?
Yeah,
Man.
according to the heading from ING. Yes,
Well, like ING is a confirmed very thirsty. Okay, and continue on.
pretty much. So at the end of the day, when we go to the actual Steam, you guys won't be able to see this because it's actually on my different monitor. But Steam. Where's the reviews for Steam? I can't find. Where the hell's the review rating for Steam?
Or what? The
Oh,
game?
yeah, here it is. It mostly positive. Right, so now it is going back to mostly positive. So yeah. So it's had 64,000 reviews. It's mostly positive. Obviously, great story, expanse, trash loot, trash elites, and boss fights. What's some of the other negative ones? The difficulty complaint. The difficulty is completely fine. It's challenging, and that's the point. My issue is performance. Someone else is saying it's amazing. Performance is actually very bad. So it sounds like it's an optimization problem. But yeah, I don't know. Have you played the Elden Ring? Shadows of Entry?
Not the DLC. I haven't. No.
No. Right. Yeah, I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, like, is it a problem that a game is hard? No, just means you guys have to just practice more and just get good, I suppose. But look, all jokes aside, it's like,
But
well, yeah, like like I suppose we really do have this culture at the moment where like games that are like really easy and people sort of like we're relying on checkpoints and this sort of stuff so that when you die you can just respawn at the last checkpoint and blah 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 blah. Like God, when I first started gaming, none of that shit existed. Bro, if you traveled 3 hours and died, guess what? You're traveling another 3 hours. And we see this with Star Citizen too. A lot of people complain about Star Citizen and like going to a bunker and dying and then having to fly back again. It's like, yeah, well, that's literally how it is. It's how it exists. But yeah, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Do you reckon gaming is too easy? Do you think does this put you buying off? Does this put you off buying Elden Ring, or you're like, nah, I want the difficulty, baby. Give it to me hard.
uh,
Perhaps.
were you, you were talking to me. I'm sorry.
Right. So this the difficulty being reportedly hard. Does it put you off buying, or are you like, no, just give it to me hard?
I mean, I don't. How do I say this? Like, I feel like people are just too used to easy games.
Yeah.
So when a game actually requires you to have some skills and you keep getting your butt kicked, it's literally the game saying, "Get good."
Yeah, yeah, I would say, look, like I say, it's always the checkpoint thing, right? People rely on checkpoints and stuff these days. At the end of the day, like, games are supposed to be hard. That's why they're challenging, you know?
Hmm.
And don't get me wrong, I've had my fair slams at the table going on about this game is fucked and walked away. But guess what? I've come back. I'm a bit like Rihanna and, I'm always getting beaten down by the game, but I get back up again. Um, but like I said, how many controversial topics have we hit in one thing? But what I was going to
Right.
say was, at the end of the day, like like I don't mind games being tough, but like it's just learn the mechanics, play the game, and try again, and eventually you will get it, I suppose. But I guess you're saying that like gamers are a bit too soft these days.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of soft, producer of Halo has gone viral with a tweet. Now, oh, this is a bad take. Keep in mind, this is one of the producers of Halo, right? I honestly don't think I could work on a game that glorifies or fantasizes modern guns, COD, Battlefield, or Rainbow Six. I've had moments I've struggled with Halo, but the world and weapons is pretty sci-fi, which creates a large enough separation from reality. This is the guy that is producing Halo.
Hmm.
Speaking of soft, like, wow, like, like, mind you, this guy also has several flags in his bio: the LGBTQ flag, the some other flag, and the Palestine flag. So he's totally not unhinged. But I was going to say, but at the end of the day, like, what are your thoughts on all this? First, do you think that game producers that getting worried about games glorifying modern guns is a concern, or do you think he is right to be concerned?
Well, I personally don't mind having the options to modify my guns because honestly, the modifying your guns in a video game is a way for you to show off your personality.
Yeah, but he's not even talking about that. He's talking about glorifying franchises with modern guns. So he's saying like COD, Battlefield, Rainbow Six Six. Like he's saying that he couldn't work on these games because they glorify modern weapons. Like, do you look at like Halo or Battlefield or COD and think, oh my god, these guns are way too realistic. This is triggering me.
no, because I'm not delusional.
Right. But this is what this guy is basically saying is that he couldn't work on a game that has modern guns because he feels like they're glorifying them. Like, this is a pretty, like, let's face it, this is a pretty soft fucking take. Like, dude, you're working on a fucking video game. If you're getting bent on a video game because the guns are too realistic and they're hurting your fragile ego or fragile reality, you probably need to change your fucking industry. Or go and make kids' games or something.
I would really hate to see him actually try to play like Armor 3.
Well, that's what I say. I don't think he would. Because he wouldn't be. He would just. He wouldn't like it. He would hate it because it's modernizing violence in video games. Oh my god! Like it's literally it's soft. It's a soft take. It's a fucking. This guy needs to pull up his panties and check to make sure that he hasn't got a tampon up there. Like no offense, but like
Well, maybe he's a fan of Fortnite.
But then, is the Fortnite's guns too realistic for him?
I don't see how they're pretty much all cartoony.
But like, okay, but like, God, what happens if this guy gets asked to go and play like skirmish? Does he have a breakdown?
Pretty much what?
Like paintball guns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, but like, keep in mind, this guy is designing. He's the producer for Halo.
Maybe that's why Halos 4, 5, and 6 didn't really feel all that great.
Well, we covered it a couple of weeks ago about how the Halo went through and removed one of the OG producers or the OG game devs. Like, you're looking at this franchise, like they've got this new TV show that no one is, well, basically no one is watching. You've got them banning or removing or firing old devs. The new devs that are coming through have got frigging LBGT, rainbow flags, and Palestine flags in their bio while complaining about how modern guns are just too realistic and are triggering me. Like, is there any reason why this franchise is freaking dying? Like, dude, grow some fucking balls. Like,
It's obvious the franchise is actually dying because people aren't actually buying.
well, why aren't they playing it though? That's the thing, because of all this shit. Like I wrote in the tweet, how to kill your game franchise in a single tweet was to basically go on about how, like, guns in your game sometimes are a little bit how you've struggled with Halo because weapons in the world is pretty sci-fi, so that's okay, but I've struggled with it too. Like, oh my god, dude, seriously. Grow a sack. It's just like, it's so fucking pathetic. By the way, he also went through and protected his tweets. But, you know, like, it's just like, it's like, oh my god, dude, what the fuck is wrong with you? But, anyway. Alright, let's jump on. Warhammer. So,
Oh boy.
this is actually something that you actually found. So, Warhammer is in trouble because of the Challenger explosion was an image.
It's not Warhammer, it's War Thunder.
War Thunder. Sorry, War Thunder. Sorry, my
Man,
bad.
you had me so confused. I'm like, I found something for Warhammer? Wait, what?
Nah, War
I
Thunder. Sorry, War
don't
Thunder.
even remember that.
War Thunder. Okay, War Thunder. So,
God, you completely threw that from the left field. I'm like, holy shit.
all right, all
Warhammer,
right.
man, I don't even remember it.
Whatever. Moving along. All right. So they had the image of the Challenger disaster or something. What's the story here, Fitz? You were covering this, or you brought this up?
So, long story short, um, War Thunder had recently released a new update. Like at this moment, it's like 2 or 3 weeks old now,
Mm-hmm.
and every time that they release a new update, they always throw in a bunch of new art
Yep.
as a loading screen,
Right.
and they tend to like hire out that work to like the third party companies,
Mm-hmm.
so they don't actually get to decide on a lot of the pictures that get used,
Yep.
and apparently somebody from one of these companies that were like hired out, they just went online and they picked a bunch of random things that they could find for like explosions and things like that. And one of the pictures that they accidentally picked was of the Challenger explosion, I think back in like what, 2006, I think, or something
Right.
like that.
So obviously,
And
obviously, I'm not American. You are. But does this
mhm.
really bother you though that they use the image, or are you like, what are your thoughts on this?
It doesn't bother me on a personal level, but I do view it as a little bit disrespectful for the people who actually did die.
Hmm. So we do have
'Cause I
the
mean,
image. We do have the image here of the,
mhm,
and it looks like the trail and the explosion, and they've cut out the explosion, and then they've put it over the background of their existing image. So they've just used
right.
the actual explosion itself as a,
Hmm.
yeah. I'm more upset at the fact that they're not using in-game video or in-game photos, but still. Um, Look, I do get the fact that it's
Yeah.
obviously disrespectful for the families and stuff like that. They did apologise. They did say, "Hey guys, we've accidentally used an explosion from the Challenger disaster in one of our key art images. Please accept our serious apologies for this. Picture was part of an aerial explosion reference pack used by our artists, and the context was lost." So they did apologise for it. So like at the end of the day, I think they've pretty
Yeah.
much came through this unscathed. But look, obviously it's a misstep, and
Yeah, but I mean, I think the worst part about all of this
mm,
is the community is pretty much saying that, like, when I first read through the comments, there was like only like 25 comments on there, and a majority of them were pretty much saying that who cares, because it's America and we just need to pretty much just to get over it.
yeah,
And it's like, well, what if they used a like event your from your country?
mm,
and and they pretty much replied a bit like, "Well, I would be pretty upset, but it's our country. No one actually cares about America." Then all that, and
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
hang on, this is just stupid takes from Reddit. Like, this has nothing to do with the game
it is,
company.
yes,
Yeah, this is just like fuckwits on Reddit, really.
yes.
Yeah. Like, if we're going to sit here and go on about every F word on Reddit, then this show's going to need
Like,
to run for 365 days.
they were trying to say that the company that is walking back on this decision should just they were saying that they should have just kept the picture in because it wasn't of a great like of a great significant importance, and it's like, well, in a way it kind of is because it's of a tragic event.
Yeah, but like I said, this is just F-wits on Twitter. Oh, sorry, not on Twitter, on Reddit. Like, this has nothing to do with the game company. The game company is not responsible for bad takes that idiots on Reddit have posted. Really.
All right.
I don't know. I get what you're saying. I do. But like I said, but this is idiots on Reddit that are taking. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, the biggest news here is that they used the mistake or they used the explosion. And then obviously they apologized for it, they've removed it, and they sort of took the high road. The idiots were posting and talking about this shit. Well, it's drama. It's just idiots on fucking Reddit, really.
I completely understand. I was just
Yeah.
trying to give a little bit more context.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you mean. It's just like it's like Spectrum, right? For Star Citizen. At the end of the day, if we sit here and like like yeah, we could sit here and make content about every idiot's bad take on Star Citizen on Spectrum, but like I said, we'd have to be here for 365 days. Like, we got enough problems with like content creators doing fucking hate farming as it is, alone by the idiots on Spectrum. But let's jump on to the next thing. The League of Legends. Okay, I always get this wrong. So, Ferrets, I'm counting on you. The name of the skin, AHRI.
So a lot of people pronounce her name as Ari.
Right, okay. Yep. So, the Ari. So, apparently, there's fake Ari skins that have been sold around the world. And been sold about.
No, no, no. Read it again. It's not fake, it's faker. Right? That's the
Ah!
name of a very popular player for League of Legends.
Oh, okay. So Faker's Ari skin has sold around 17 million copies. Right, gotcha. So they raised $2.3 million in 1 hour.
Man,
Um, yeah, and
the
people.
Koreans really know how to be whales.
Well, I was going to say, and people complain about Star Citizen, right? Um,
I mean, you're not wrong.
but yeah, but so they've brought a whole bunch of these skins. Obviously, this is a topic that you've also found. I'm just sort of playing catch up a bit here. Um,
Mhm.
like obviously, don't get me wrong. Like, look, obviously it's not my thing. I'm not much into the furry subculture, but $17 million
Hey,
dollars. Like,
you just say something about us furries, really?
you're not even a furry, are you? Really?
Not the completely. I mean, I do like the artwork. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So obviously it's Renminbi. It's the official currency of the peoples of China. So it's raised 17 million RMB, or about 2.3 million US dollars. So CIG, come on, rookie numbers. We got to beat that. But they've raised $2.3 million in 1 hour, which is kind of damn impressive, actually, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, if you throw fox ears and a foxtail on it, on anything, it will probably sell like hotcakes, man. I mean,
That's true.
people just like furries.
That's true. All right. So, is there any other general gaming news before we jump into the Star Citizen stuff?
There was a article talking about CIG that released earlier today.
All right. Well, we'll get onto that actually. So let's jump into the Star Citizen stuff. Have you got a link to that article? I haven't actually seen that yet. I've been developing a
Uh,
ancient
yeah.
building all day.
Send it to you in the podcast channel.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Right. All right. So, Chernobyl finds Cloud Imperium Games discriminated against disabled employees with return to work office policies. Oh boy. So, Star Citizen developer dismissed a disabled worker who sought to continue to work remotely following the pandemic. But my question is this: they didn't work remotely when they before the pandemic, right?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't read the whole thing, so I don't know.
So the UK employee tribunal has ordered CIG to pay almost $30,000 in compensation for discrimination against a disabled worker. The studio was taken to a tribunal by senior programmer Paul Ahon, the Clement, after rolling out a return to work policy that failed to accommodate his needs as a disabled person with autism. The Clement was hired. Was hired by CIG in 2018, so before the pandemic, and the company was aware of his disabled at the beginning of his tenure. Although he initially worked from the company's office in Winslow, the COVID-19 pandemic required staff to work remotely. As noted, the tribunal judgment sent the game developer upon emerging from the pandemic. The studio opened a new office in Manchester and sought to relocate its workforce. However, during the pandemic, Ahern found working from home more accommodating of his disabilities. Rather than moving to Manchester office, the Clement asked the CIG to permanently remote work. The request was successfully denied. CIG refused to change its stance despite repeated requests and eventually dismissed Ahern in July of 2022. My question is this is a guy that initially was working from working from the office? So he was working from the office, then we all did the work from home because of the pandemic, and then they've asked him to go back to the office to where he was originally employed. I don't see a problem with this from CIG's point. Do you? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Am I wrong? Do you disagree?
I mean, uh, I mean, I feel like maybe both sides may be in the wrong here because, for one, CIG could have tried to explore alternatives that could work with both parties.
Right. But he initially was working in the office though, so he can do
Right,
it.
right. And I mean, from what I read through the article, they're saying that he chose to work from home because it was easier. I mean, I understand, like, if I could if I could do my job from home and it was easier, I mean, shit, I would actually do it. But
But
I mean,
the question is that is it as effective as you working in the office? Probably not.
I mean, the truth is, it probably would not be. I
No.
mean, sometimes there will be things that will come up that would require you to be there, and it's like, oh well, I now have to say like I'll travel 3 hours from home just to head in to the office to fix a problem that's only going to take me like 30 minutes, and I got to try for 3 hours all the way back home. It's like, well, if you were already there, it would have taken you 20 minutes and then problem solved, go back to work. I
Mm.
mean, I mean, so I mean, it may have been easier for him, and I understand that he is a bit autistic. But
But aren't we all?
apparently,
Well, I'm pretty sure I'd be on the spectrum. Shit, people, I've
I
sat here for the past 4 hours building a building in Blender, trying to learn Blender because I want to build a building. Like, this is not something that someone that is completely normal does. People that are completely normal are probably outside chasing girls, playing football, or God knows what. They don't sit here and learn to play Blender.
mean, if you find it that entertaining, then keep doing it. I mean,
Yeah, but
it's
let's
a
face it.
like a hobby.
And let's face it, also with autism, right? There's high spectrum, low spectrum, right? Um, like like
I'm
let's
dying.
so
No, 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 don't mind me.
ferrets is dying, people. But like, there's obviously high spectrum, low spectrum, high functioning, low functioning, blah blah blah. I'm pretty sure I'll be high functioning autistic, right? I would sit at my old job, and while I was working, I would sit there and plan and design movie scenes in my head. This is not normal, people. Okay, like I'm not having any bones about it. I'm pretty special on the autism level, but
I mean, I mean, does it really make you autistic if you're sitting there daydreaming though? Like, that's just something everybody does.
I'm not. Yeah, but we're not talking about daydreaming. We're talking about 3D, like full 3D plans of like movies in your head.
I mean, so you're a passionate fan. I mean, that doesn't
Well, that was for the
mean
machinima.
anything.
No, but obviously, when it comes to autism, right, there's a lot more other things. Obviously, I don't like interacting with people, even though both my jobs are very, very obviously person based. But at the end of the day, there's a whole reasons for it. And obviously, I'm only guessing here. I haven't been checked. But yeah, if I could sit at home and work on CIG's game, would I love to? Sure. But does that mean he can't work in the office? Obviously not, because the guy's worked in the office before.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if he is autistic and working in the office, probably would be a good thing because it would get him out of his comfort zone, mixing and talking to people. It would force him to be a little bit sociable. So it probably wouldn't have hurt him to even go into the office. Actually, it probably would have been a good thing for him. Um, all right. Obviously, the Bar Citizen. We did have some of the information that came out regarding the Bar Citizen. Eric Roberts is saying multiple Pyro playtests in the preview channel before SitCon, which is sort of leading to what we've been saying for a while now, which is that CitizenCon is going to be 4.0. And Xylo
Yeah,
also.
but
So,
that doesn't leave them with a lot of time though. It does. I mean,
well, it says
we're already in July. Then you have August, September, then CitizenCon in October. So that's like
3 months.
3.5 months.
Yeah, and we've already
And
since this post, we've already had another playtest.
we're Pyro? Since when?
For server meshing.
Yeah, but they said playtest for Pyro.
Yeah, but I'm presuming this is obviously also more about the server meshing tech, right? I don't think that they obviously when it comes to Pyro, they don't need to do a playtest for Pyro, really. Like we didn't get a lot of playtests for Statin when it came in, right? They probably will do one or two for it, sure, but I presume the biggest thing that they're doing is they're testing server mesh tech, which is literally what we've already had one of.
No, I don't know. I mean, I just don't want a repeat of what we just had with 3.23, where that where they overpromised, found out that they actually couldn't deliver because it was too much work, and now we have 3.23 broken up into so many different parts that it does that they essentially got renamed into another major patch just so they can say we did more than two major patches.
Okay, for a start, 3.24 as a patch does not change. The fact that it was 3.23.2 or that now it's 3.24 doesn't mean a fucking thing.
Well, if it doesn't mean anything, then why did they change it?
It doesn't. All right, let
I
me
mean,
rephrase. Let me rephrase. It doesn't mean a thing for us. It means a thing for their shareholders.
right,
Big.
which leads back to the point where they changed it so they could say that we did more than two patches this year, which it
But
makes
hang on. But let me ask.
sense because
But hang on. Let me ask you this: if it was a 3.23.2 or a 3.24 patch and it has the same content in it, does it really matter to you?
yes, but no. I mean,
How does it affect you?
so it doesn't affect me as much because, I mean, other than for the fact that that all of the things that were promised were for 3.23, and then they changed it into 3.24, which means
So what does
that.
that mean for you? What exactly does that do for you? Exactly. How does that change anything for you?
Oh, okay, fine. It means absolutely nothing. All right.
It doesn't. And to be honest, the people that claiming that it does are a bunch of fucking streamers and a bunch of content creators claiming it does because they're trying to make content because they're bored. Did you not notice that this stuff comes out every fucking 3 months? Every time before there's a new patch, when we have a valley where we don't have much content come out. What do a lot of creators do? They sit there and they drum up fucking stupid shit on fucking on YouTube, and a whole bunch of people watch these videos, and a whole bunch of people get upset, and it doesn't really fucking mean anything. All it means is that you probably find that COG have somewhere in their contract where it has that they will come out with 3 or 4 major patches every year. And at the end of the day, they've looked at 3.24 or the existing 3.2, 3.2 and thought, actually, this patch has a whole bunch of shit in it. We could probably make this a 3.24 patch. And they've just simply renamed it. That's all it is. It's
Yeah,
nothing. It's nothing major, man. It really isn't major
but the thing is, like, if it's nothing major, then why did they do it?
because they
Though,
have
if it does
obligations. Because they have obligations. I'm guessing they have obligations to their shareholders.
exactly. So what's to stop them from doing it again?
Do what again?
I mean, what's stopping them from over promising, and then
What did they exactly overpromise on?
they were hyping up 2.23 to be the to be the biggest patch of this year in the first quarter. All right, they were going to be giving us persistent hangers, cargo decks, and all the other bells and the whistles. And they were basically hyping people up. They were hyping everybody else up with the sales. And then when it got closer to the time to actually start testing it, they thought like, oh, it turns out we can't actually do all of this, so we're going to just put it in a 8.1 patch, and everyone is like, well, okay, that's fine. 6 months later,
Hey,
we
whoa! It hasn't been
still don't
six.
have it.
It hasn't been 6 months, bro. Come on, let's be factual about shit, right? It
March,
was.
April, May, June, July. Okay, it's been 5 months.
It hasn't even been 5 months. It was a point 2 patch up until about a month ago.
And before that, it was 8.1 patch.
No,
And
no, no,
before
no, no,
that,
no,
it
no,
was
no,
a
no, 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 no,
3.1.
no, 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 no. It was never a point one patch. It was always just listed as an X patch. Then we turn around and they had CitizenCon, which was just simply adding them the show floors for the point one, and
That's
doing
not
some
CitizenCon.
not CitizenCon, sorry, Fleet Week, and adding a bunch of bug fixes. And then it was always the point two was always going to be the hangers. And when it took a little bit longer than they wanted to bring it out because of bugs and errors, they turned around and they said, okay, instead of making it a point two, we're going to make it a 3.24 patch.
Don't forget the like hot patch that still took a additional 4 weeks.
Yeah, the hot fix, yeah. Are we really complaining about them putting out hot fixes to fix the game?
I'm 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 complaining that they keep saying one thing, then doing another thing. They're just walking the goalposts back
Okay, so what would you
like every few weeks.
So what did you want? Did you want 3.24 to come out at 3.2, 3.2, whether it worked or not?
I want them to start communicating and actually telling us what's wrong.
Which they did.
Because
Which they did.
no,
They turned around and said, hey guys,
no.
we can't have this as a point 0.2 patch. We're going to make it a 24 patch. And then everybody lost their shit.
Yeah, but that's not telling us why, though. I mean,
Right. But hang on, your response.
example,
But hang on, you haven't said anything about them not communicating. You want to make an argument about them communicating. I
I'm
agree.
trying to, but you keep cutting me off.
No, but hang on. Your original thing was that they overestimated and underdelivered.
Yes, they did.
What did they overestimate and underdeliver on?
They overestimated 3.23.
Yeah.
Half of that content got pushed back
No, 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 no,
into
no, no, no,
a
no,
later
no.
batch.
No, it wasn't half.
Yes, it
Okay.
did.
No, it's not. There was way more in 23 than three or four things. The only thing that was
What did
the only thing that was we can look at the roadmap. The only thing that was pushed back was cargo, persistent hangers, and cargo missions. Which actually, to be honest, I don't even think was actually a part of the point two patch. We're actually getting that extra. But the persistence hangers and the cargo refactor is the thing that was pushed back. There was way more in 23 than just that. Shit, dude, we had
Like
fucking
what?
EVA, the new HUD, the new Moby Glass, the fucking. Look, we can actually bring it up. Hang on. Roadmap. So 3.23, we have the new character customizer, right? We had the distribution centers. We had the AI, we had the Copen and the Mamak, or the birdie thingies. Gameplay, we had the Arena Commander new flight map, the new missions, creature hunting, we had the Arena Commander engineering experimental mode, we had custom lobbies, we had the Moby Glass rework, we had the FPS loot screens, FPS map systems, visor HUDs and lenses, player interaction experiences, EVA Tier 2, reputation, hostility, and the Star Map rework. Thank God for that. Then we had the Firebird, the MPU Tractor, the RSI Medivac, the Pulse, the two variances, the vehicle modularity, by the way, which no one seems to have talked about. We had the Retaliator getting a gold standard and master modes. In weapons, we had the dynamic crosshairs, and in core tech, we had Vulkan Graphics API support, water simulations, volumetric clouds, image upscaling, and the replication layer. That is a.
And how much is that? And how much of that is actually considered the major gameplay changes?
All of it, dude. All of it except the vehicles.
Are you sure that a lot of that isn't considered a quality of life update?
No, I mean, no, dude, you can't sit there and say, like, the friggin' Star Map, for example, is not quality of life. It was a major change that impacted on friggin' ability to even set points to jump to. We got a whole new Star Map, not only the Star Map, but we also got the map in game.
We still can't set points on the map and actually jump. Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, you broke up there. What was that?
we still do not have the ability to make points on our star map and actually jump into them yet.
Right, we can't do GPS. Okay, but dude, seriously? That's your complaint? Is that we can't put a GPS coordinates down?
My original complaint to this whole mess that we just made is CIG is overpromising. They find out that they can't that actually do it. So they say we will push this part back. Then they find out that it's going to take even longer. So they are like, okay, well, we're just going to just completely change it into a whole other patch, and just say it's now another major patch. While this may not affect the average player, that's still not the, the point. The point is that they're not telling us why they did it. They aren't telling us what's actually going on with all of these issues, and they aren't telling us when things that actually break. They aren't telling us like, oh well, this thing broke because of like X to the system, and we are currently trying to fix it. I mean, they're just not saying anything at all.
Well, we did hear that the reason why 3.2 was pushed back was because of the fact that there were game-breaking bugs that basically bricked the ability to pull ships out. We did hear about that. It wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't
Like, what was it though? Like, other than like, something broke something else. Like, okay, but like, can you go into more detail? Like, what broke
It was the ability to
and
pull ships
why?
out. It was ship ability to pull ships out of the ASAP terminals.
That was just for hangars, but like,
Yeah, which is the main crux of the 3.2, was now the 3.24 patch. The biggest thing, right? So to give you an idea, 3.23, I just counted, had 22 changes excluding ships and vehicles, right? In 3.24, it's 5 items. So the 5 things that are in 3.25 is freight elevators, new mining missions cargo hauling, which I believe is actually new, personal instance hangars, which is always there, storage access, which is there, and a new event, which is the dynamic blockade runner. That's also new. So to be honest, there were 3 things that didn't make the 3.23 patch branch that we already know about. That was it. That was the only things. It was the flight elevators, the personal hangars, and the storage access, or the item banks. And the fact is that the flight elevators were the things that were broken because you couldn't pull the ships out of the ASOP terminals because for some reason it was just it was causing some issue that was Look, could they go to more detail and put out a full explanation about why it didn't work? Sure, but considering how much detail we get from other game companies, people need to realize that the amount of content that we get from CIG is pretty damn impressive. There are I don't know any game studio that talks as much as CIG does to their base. Can you name one?
no, I'm done.
No, but no, seriously, can you name some other game studio that goes through and communicates as much as CIG does? I can't think of one. Can you? No? Like Atlas, for example, right? Atlas has been broken for over 12 months now, and we still don't know why it breaks. They still haven't talked. It's gone completely radio silent. Call of Duty, Battlefield, any of these AAA game studios. Hell, we can't even get bloody Rockstar to announce that GTA 6 was in development for years. They were just completely radio silent on it. I know it's a thing that the community from the CIG likes to talk about, is the fact that, oh my god, we don't hear so much from. It's a talking point, but it's a stupid one because it's so not true. Could they be better? Sure. But at the end of the day, just because someone's better at something doesn't mean we're not hearing about it. But, I look, to be honest, I'm kind of glad they pushed 3.24 back because at least now it works. At least now it's going to be bugless or less buggy. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. I don't know. CIG fixed the deadlock in the 24 was coming out on Tuesday. So the patch actually did come out multiple times. And I believe we also had a patch earlier today too as well. Yeah, we did. So obviously with the new PTU patch for 3.24, obviously it goes through and is, US only. It is long-term persistence enabled, server recovery is enabled. Testing focus is obviously personal instances, flight elevators, storage access, hover trolleys, and hangar decorations. I believe the hangar decorations was also new as well. Not ready for testing was still obviously just cargo missions and commodity rebalancing and the dynamic event. But they've gone through master modes. They're readjusting some of that. Soft def branch polishing. So they've set default breach amount of exterior doors to 100% during soft death. Fixed up the cutlass, the freelancer, and the constellation. They've added mission items, filters to freight elevator management. They've reduced the Esplanado Prowler's emissions to make it more in line with the stealth dropship. and they fixed 4 client crashes and 6 server crashes. I would expect this to go probably wider PTU, probably towards the end of the week, mid to the end of this week. So I would say probably around Thursday, Friday, maybe Saturday, it will probably go wider to Wave 1 PTU. Are you looking forward to 324?
If it doesn't get delayed any.
Well, it's already in Eva Cuddy, bro. Has been for almost a week now. But I don't know. What are you looking forward to the most? Are you looking to personal hangars or freight elevators, or what are you looking forward to the most?
Hangars and cargo.
Apparently, there's like chairs and stuff that you can go through and you can like buy from the shops and stuff in game. That'll allow you to go through and put like chairs and couches and stuff in your hangar and stuff, and you can like set it up to be like you're like away from home.
No.
Yeah. Apart from that, obviously, at the end of the day, new weapons shown in inside Star Citizen. We did get to see a whole bunch of new weapons coming into Pyro. I will play the video just so you can have a look at it in case you're not sure. Inside Star Citizen. So originally I thought this was actually going to be a pretty boring show. Because it was like meet the weapon content team. But then when they were going through, they basically were showing off the new weapons that they were making. And it was actually way more interesting than I thought it was going to be.
Star Citizen.
So here, let's just flick through. Oh, we did get an update on the P8 weapon from
Squadron 42.
Yeah, Squadron 42, which I know, was it you or John was asking about a while ago?
Probably me, because I really want it.
Yeah. We're not sure when it's coming out, but they did say it's coming out soon, TM. And they did actually go through and talk about it, and I must admit it does look pretty fucking good, actually, to be honest. And then obviously they went through and they also showed a whole bunch of weapons that are like sort of a mishmash of ships of weapons put together. So you get to see it here, like there's a whole bunch of knives and stuff. That is obviously mostly, I think it's mostly going to be in the Pyro universe. So yeah. And then later we also get to see like the some of the guns and stuff that have been made. So where is it? Like this vault here, this vault weapon that's been made. But it's basically it's a whole bunch of weapons that are very much sort of put together and assembled and kits. CIG did say in the video that it was weapons that you could build. So people were saying, is this possible crafting or whatever coming into the game? Whether you're going to be able to build the weapons yourselves or if it's sort of like attachments that you add to a base to make it look more menacing or to make it more improvements or something. I'm not sure. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on the weapons?
I like them and I can't wait for them to come in.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, yeah, considering it was supposed to be a boring episode, I actually thought it was actually pretty good there for a while. But yeah. But then, apart from that, Xeno Threat. Did you get a chance to go through and do Xeno Threat by any chance, Ferrets?
No.
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 I did it. I did it once or twice. It was good. It was, we suffered from massive frame rate drops and stuff when like the Idris ship was spawning in and stuff. It seemed to be with the fact that it was loading the entities. Because when you jumped to the waypoint where the Idris battle was that it sort of, you noticed it sort of like tried to load in around, I think it was around 50,000 or 30,000 entities or whatever.
Lovely.
Yeah. Um, the boarding the Idris was ridiculously hard because it was just the ship was moving around, which apparently I heard was a bug. The ship moving so fast was a bug. Um, but also it was just almost impossible to board the ship because every time you managed to get the doors open and then you died, you would then come back and the doors would be magically healed. So there were definitely issues with like stuff like that, which obviously stuff they can fix at a later date. Um,
So, actually, they're just moving at a fast speed. That's not a bug, actually. In the current flight model,
mhm.
the Idris is actually faster than the F8C.
Right.
Yeah, like the F8C goes it used to go like 1130 like SCM,
Mhm.
and the it just goes like over 1200 and or something at the top speeds.
Does that? Sorry, I just hit mute. Is that the same on the Star Citizen wiki?
Uh, they may have different numbers. They might be going off the old flight model, but in the but regardless of which flight models, the Idris, I believe, is faster than the F8C, and the F8C was considered the fastest ship in the game at the time.
But I do wonder if that is a bug or an error because, alright, so just solely for the fact that if the F8C is slower than the Idris, if the Idris is flying along and you go to launch an F8C and it moves at the same speed or slower, it won't be able to take off.
Not exactly, because the Idris has a launch system in the like hangar bay that shoots out um the fighters. Think of like uh they catapult from a to the dot like aircraft to the carrier,
Hmm.
so it will shoot them out at a faster speed than the mothership, and then that should give them enough time to get out of the way
But but
of
then
the ship.
but then also coming into land, you wouldn't be able to technically be catching up to it if it was traveling at full speed.
Well, then the ship would have to just not go at full speed.
Yeah,
It's not hard.
but so on the wiki, it's listed as the SCM is 45 meters per second, max speed is 800 meters per second. I would think that is probably more realistic, not like 1,000. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well,
Do you think
I
the Idris
mean,
should be traveling at 800 or at over 1,000?
they had it traveling at a pretty high rate of speed in the old vertical slice.
Yeah, but there's a yeah,
In
but we don't know if that was 800 or 1,000 though, right? Or over 1,000. What's the F8 travel at over 1,100, right?
in the old flight model it was like 1336, but in the new flight model it's down to 1,000 something.
So according to the Wikipedia, and obviously according to the Wikipedia, max speed is 1,100 meters per second. So I would
Yeah,
say at the end of the
little.
day, the Idris traveling at 800 is probably far more better or far more realistic. I don't know. What do you think? You're an Idris owner? Do you think it should be traveling at 1,100 or over 1,000, or do you think 800 is better?
I mean, if it can, if it can boost it up to 8,000 in order to get in order to get away from a people, then that should be fine.
But it's an Idris. It doesn't need to get away from people. It just turns around and blows them out of the sky.
Right. So if it's getting attacked by a bunch of Polaris, then you're saying that it doesn't need to actually that it doesn't need to actually run.
Well, it probably does, but you know, you're talking about a circumstances here where it's being attacked by a whole bunch of Polarises and blah blah blah. You're sort of cherry picking the area or the situation here. Let's face it, it's an Idris, it's a carrier, right? If you want to go through and make an argument that the carrier for Star Citizen, the Idris, is the same as an aircraft carrier in the Navy, I would find that the aircraft carrier in the
It's
Navy,
not.
well, it's the same principle, isn't it?
It's a the interest is a like hybrid. All right, that's a carrier, and it's a frontline combat ship.
So I've just done a quick
It's both.
I've just done a quick search here. U.S. aircraft carrier versus destroyers top speed. Right. The aircraft carrier's top speed is about 30 to 35 knots. Which, don't get me wrong, it's fucking moving. But destroyers' top speeds are around around
50, right?
no, it's around 30 to 35 knots still. So it's around the same sort of speed. So judging this, it should be around the same speed as like its destroyers and its corvettes and stuff like that. I would say that you know you could probably make the Idris move about 8. What's the Hammerhead move at?
I don't know. I don't know that one.
Speed for the Hammerhead. Sorry, hang on. Hammerhead. Speed on the Hammerhead is max speed's 950. I would say you want to make it around 900, 950. It'd probably be alright. Yeah. I don't know. I just think that the rate it was moving at the moment, which was over 1,100, I believe someone was saying, it's just crazy fast. Like, also, you got to keep in mind, too, if you're getting into a whole bunch of fights with a whole bunch of ships, like Polarises and stuff like that, your best thing is not to fly away at SCM, it's to quantum jump.
Well, that's if you can, if they will let you, which a lot of times they probably won't.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just think that the traveling, that the insane speeds that it was doing was like it was pretty crazy. Like, dude, I was sitting there once just floating EVA, trying to float through it, and obviously I was EVAing, right? This is what 30, 40 meters per second, whatever. But it was just flying past at crazy speeds. But also the big problem that we had with obviously going through and actually trying to board the ship was the fact that we were sort of like trying to fly up to it and trying to get into it, and it was just it was really really hard. Like if CIG want to bring in like boarding and stuff in the future, which they've always said they want to do, they're going to need to go through and work on the boarding mechanics somehow. You know, obviously we do have that ship which is coming, which is obviously boarding and stuff like that. But yeah, they are going to have to do something when it comes to the boarding, because at the moment it's just near impossible to board a ship. But,
Yeah, that's called the Legionnaire.
yeah, the Legionnaire ship. Yeah.
Like we still don't have yet, but
Yeah. But I will say that I don't know how well the Legionnaire will go on approach, because no matter what I was seemingly flying, it was basically getting one-shotted by those turrets on the Idris.
well, that's why they are also going to have hacking.
So they can turn the turrets off and that.
Yeah, to turn off the turret, to turn off the sensors, so they won't see you coming in, and then probably also lower your performance in like engine, so you can't move as fast.
I know hacking was to do with doors and stuff. I don't know if I remember anything about it being like performance for like sensors or anything like or turning turrets off.
Oh,
Um,
we don't know anything yet because
no,
they haven't talked about it.
no. Yeah, the only thing I've heard about is they've mentioned that you can hack doors and stuff. Um,
Oh,
but but yeah, but
good old CIG not saying much at all.
well, they don't say much about it because it's still in development, man. This is the catch, right? If they come out and they say something about it and it's wrong, people get upset. So what do? Well, they turn around and they don't talk about it because if they do talk about it, people are going to be upset because they get something wrong. You know, it's a catch-22 situation, really. Um, there was also a bit of information that came out regarding Chinese servers and Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. So, according to this quote here, we're actively looking at how we can build businesses. One of the reasons why we put game servers in Hong Kong, we figured it would be close to people in China, but it's a big country, so people need to have multiple service locations inside itself. Um, I have another take on this. I don't think it's anything to do with the case of where the servers are. I think it has to do with the Chinese firewall. So some of you may be aware that China has what they call the Great Firewall, which basically goes through and restricts a lot of traffic coming in and out of China. That would have to slow things down. And I do wonder if the ping that you're getting from China and from the Hong Kong servers is more to do with the firewall than it is to do with the actual location of the servers. Uh, Someone else, gameplay questions. Will they be finishing game but not in the short term? 4.0 will include more creatures, also in 1.0. There will be a full ecosystem of predators to herbivores. Chris went on to say that the place in Pyro is a certain gunsmith that will make more effective FPS weapons. That you'll have to go with a person to buy it from there and make the journey. Take the risk to do it. So there's basically a sense of accomplishment in getting the weapon. That's overall principle. So it sounds like there's going to be a gunsmith that sells modified weapons that are slightly better than what you would actually normally buy in a standard gun shop. So like a specialized dealer. What are your thoughts on that? You like it?
A specialized dealer that is located in one spot that will totally not be camped 24/7 by sweaty PvP lords. Sounds great.
Alright, so we're getting on to negative ferrets for the day. The weapons and equipment in the game will also be given more freedom. These plans will be connected to the reputation system. Players need to gain enough reputation and favour through the contract and to unlock the weaponsmith. To become a seller and sell these weapons in the universe to gain more sense of achievement. So it sounds like you'll be become a seller and sell these weapons. So it doesn't sound like it's going to be one spot. It sounds like you're going to be able to buy it from multiple people. But it also sounds like it might be player trading as well.
I think so.
Yeah. Ship questions. Every ship will be renovated in the 10.1 gold standard. Every ship will be re-evaluated and many factors that decide will get renovated first. Starter ships like the Aurora and Mustang will be improved. And the Polaris Gatebox is next week. Review next week. Dedicated torpedo station in the torpedo. No torp control on the pilot seat. And the Nautilus and BM are not in production. So apart from that, yeah, anything there that you like or don't like? Is it? First?
I feel sorry for the person who has to sit there and continuously press a fire for the torpedo.
Well, we don't know if it's going to be one shot fired. It doesn't say that. But it sounds like it's going to be a torpedo station or a control station for the
Right.
torpedoes.
But that just means a person would have to sit there, and his only job will be to press the fire.
Yeah,
That's the only thing that he will do.
well, to lock on, target, and to fire, probably, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing that he's going to do. He's going to be sitting there getting pretty bored then.
Well, at the end of the day, this is not the first time we've seen torpedo controls from Copilot, right? I presume it's going to be Copilot.
Well, I mean, like, what other ship is like that?
I believe I'm blanking on the name. It came out recently. Not the Firebird, the one before the Firebird. I'm sure there's another ship or another couple of ships where it's like that. Actually, hang on. Let me Google search it. What ships in Star Citizen fired torps? Torpedoes from Copilot. Hammerhead and Retaliator. According to Search, the Hammerhead is the ship in Star Citizen, can fire missiles and torpedoes from the co-pilot seat. The Retaliator is another ship in the game that also co-pilots fires from the co-pilot seat. So it seems like
so
Hammerhead and Retaliator.
They can fire from a co-pilot to the seat, but in the case of the Polaris, you can only fire from the torpedo.
I don't think the Hammerhead fires from the pilot seat. I think it's only co-pilot.
It does. It does. Because I've done it several times already.
Have you? All right. What about the Retaliator? Is that only co-pilot or pilot?
Retaliator only has a pilot seat in it. I don't think it has a co-pilot seat.
It's saying there's a co-pilot seat.
I don't remember there being one. No, the Retaliator just has a pilot seat in it.
Image. I'm not sure. Like I said, the AI came up with the answer. So, but oh my god, hang on. Just ignore that, guys. But yeah, I don't know. Like I say, look. To be honest, look, this is obviously something that they could probably adjust later, Evian. We'll have to see what happens when it comes out. I'd have to check the Hammerhead myself. I'm taking your word for it. I don't know. I've never flown a Hammerhead or fired torpedoes from a Hammerhead. But yeah. But there's going to be plenty for the co-pilot to do besides just fire torpedoes. Like I presume also your co-pilot will be doing other things as well. So it's not just a case of just sitting there like twiddling his thumbs. If your co-pilot's sitting there twiddling his thumbs waiting for you just to fire torpedoes, you probably should fire him and get someone else. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, I don't have any problems with the Polaris only being done like that. I just have a problem with if you want to fire torpedoes, then you're going to need someone to pretty much sit there the entire time and just press the fire button, and that's going to get to and that's going to get to the boring for him really quick.
Well, that's what I say. Presumably it's going to be a co-pilot seat or something like that that's going to be doing it, right? And I presume he's going to be doing more than just pressing that one button. Like, I presume there's
So,
other jobs he's going to be doing as well. Like, he might be working on radar or sensors or whatever it may be, right? I like obviously when it comes to things like, for example, engineering. This is where engineering is sort of going to be dividing up the labor between the workers or the staff or the crew of the ship. What were you going to say, sorry?
well, according to what they were saying, um, the torpedoes will be fired from a dedicated torpedo console.
Yeah, they said it fired from a um, dedicated torpedo station from the torpedo. I'm guessing, and they mean from the torpedo room, maybe. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, again, that's gonna be like you're going to need a guy to pretty much sit in the torpedo room and be ready to fire at 8 moments notice. I mean, I understand because the Polaris is like a World War II submarine, and in order to actually fire the torpedoes, you need to have somebody actually in the torpedo room to actually press the fire button.
Mm. But also, here's a question for you too. Do you think that this person also will be doing things like loading your torpedoes, unloading the spent or the firing mechanism or whatever it
Um,
may be?
so they did say that the torpedoes would have to be manually reloaded. So yes.
Yeah. So here's a question. What job does a sorry, torpedo control officer in a submarine do? Right, so a torpedo control officer in a submarine is responsible for overseeing the operation, maintenance, and firing of the sub's torpedoes. So his jobs consist of the torpedo system operation, which ensures the proper functioning of the torpedo tubes, including loading, arming, and firing torpedoes. The fire control, which is the coordinate with the officer and the crew to plan and execute torpedo attacks against enemy attacks and targets. Maintenance and repairs, so the control officer also is responsible for performing routine maintenance and repairs on the torpedo system. And training and testing, they conduct training exercises and testing to ensure the torpedo systems are functioning. Probably wouldn't have to do that. But they also coordinate with other departments. So work closely with the commanding officer, approach officer, and the pilot officer to ensure smooth, effective. Data analysts, they analyze data from sensors and other sources to determine the most effective torpedo attack strategy. And they also do crew training. So this seems like there's a little bit there. And I presume that some of that will probably transfer over to also Star Citizen as well. But you know, at the end of the day, and also you might be able to give him two jobs too. So while he's a torpedo repair or torpedo control officer, you also might be able to give him something like a chef's job as well. So he might be like the chef as well.
Well, at the time, I don't think PAG is going to have all of that implemented, but like,
No, but they're obviously moving towards the 1.0, right? And obviously things that will be coming in at a later date will affect this. So I presume the reason why they're putting in the torpedo officer is because they have a greater plan later down the track for him to do other things as well. Like, for example, maintenance, repair, fire control, data entry, stuff like that. It does say here he's also a data analyst, which is what I was saying with like sensors and stuff. So, but yeah, I don't know. But we are getting away from the fact that crew or ships are going to be single crewed. We are stepping away from that ever slowly, and people need to start realizing that that their ships, that these massive, great big ships like the Polaris or any of these sort of stuff, even the Galaxy and stuff like that, you're not going to be able to single crew it. You are
Which
going.
I understand that.
Yeah, I'm not referring to you here in any way. I'm talking about other people, right? But I was going to say, but yeah, people are going to have to realize that we are stepping away from this single crew mentality. You're not going to be able to single crew your Polaris. You are going to need to have 3 or 4 people. What's the minimum crew for a? Oops, I closed that window instead of opened it.
ABA Polaris?
Yeah.
6 to 12, I think.
So you are going to need those 6 people, and I presume one of them will be a torpedo guy.
Yeah, in order to actually use the Polaris to its minimum effectiveness, you would have to have at least 2 people.
Yeah. Well, they're saying so 6 to 12 is the minimum, you're right. So I presume one is going to be a pilot, one will be your torpedo operator, one will be your engineer, right?
And then you need 6 more
Gunners.
people for the gunners, plus another person as a pilot for the ship in the hangar.
Yeah. So if you've got, say, what's it got? 3 turrets. How many turrets has it got?
I think it has 5.
Yeah.
2 turrets on the side, 1 in the front, 2 more on the top, and 1 in the back. So 6 turrets.
1,
7, 8.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It has 12. Well, those are flare ammo, so.
Yeah, it was 12 turrets? I thought it only had 5, 6.
No, yeah, hang on, sorry. So 6 of those are flares and noise. So 6, yeah, 6. So yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're not going to be able to single pilot these ships anymore, guys. People are going to have to realize this. It's yeah. And look, it's something that I have to keep in mind too, because I bought a Galaxy, and how many is the minimum crew on the Galaxy?
I don't know. I don't like the Galaxy.
You don't like the Galaxy? How do you not like the Galaxy?
Well, I just don't like it.
Uh,
Doesn't look cool to me.
It says its crew is just 6, so that's all it says. It's just crew 6. But the Galaxy is going to have modularity and shipbuilding, base building, which is cool.
It's not cool.
It's cool.
If I want base building, I can just use a Pioneer, which I have access to a Pioneer.
Yeah, but Pioneer is way dearer than the Galaxy. But also the Pioneer is going to be able to build bigger stuff than the Galaxy. I think the Galaxy only does medium to large. The Pioneer does large to extra large stuff as well.
I thought the Galaxy only did small to medium.
Was it small to medium, was it? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. But anyway. Yeah, but my point is that the Pioneer does build bigger stuff than the Galaxy, which is why it's more beneficial.
The Pioneer can build all the way up to extra large, right?
I'm not sure.
I think the Galaxy, I think the Galaxy can build all the way up to large, but the Pioneer can build all the way up to extra large.
Something like that, anyway. Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah, the Pioneer builds more. All right. Apart from that, obviously, look, at the end of the day, getting back to the 3.24, I would say probably expect it towards the end of this week. Go to Wave 1. What are your thoughts? Do you reckon about then, roughly?
With CIG's track record, I'm not expecting it to be anytime this week.
You don't think it's going to be this
next week?
Yeah. We're talking about
next week.
We're talking about Wave 1.
Yeah, probably next week, because you also have to remember that a majority of the U.S. team will be on like holiday this week.
So what is the holiday this week? I'm not American, so what is that?
Thursday is America 4th of July, or
Right,
Independence Day.
right. And then Friday, is it a public holiday as
Us-
well?
Usually, most companies also take off a day after in the Independence Day because I mean everyone's probably going to be drinking or they're going to have their hand blown off. I mean, you know.
Because people would not be using fireworks illegitimately, right?
Especially not when they're drunk. I mean, I mean, people over here are very responsible with our fireworks
So Ferris comes to the show
and games.
next week and is missing an arm. We know why. Um, but yeah,
Say arm, that's pretty generous.
so saying that, maybe early next week, maybe towards the end of this week. I'm not sure. You got to do keep in
I
mind
mean,
they do have studios in other countries,
yes, but
and the bulk
like,
and the bulk are in the UK at the moment.
yeah, but like, how many of them are from the US just working in the UK? So like, if they're from the US, they might celebrate that holiday anyways, if they're not in the same country.
Yeah, I don't know if CIG would actually give them the holiday, or if they would just do something in store or in
I
the.
don't know, actually.
Yeah, I would
I
say
really
that
don't know.
they would probably keep working, but they'd probably do something like where you get dressed up like in your American colours or something. Oh boy, that's going to trigger a whole bunch of people.
So our country's the color, I don't think it's red, white, and blue anymore. It's like
Communism red.
several different colors now.
Hmm. But yeah, I was going to say, but I imagine a lot of people would probably that's what they'll probably do. I imagine the American studios would probably take the day off, and the rest of the
Probably.
world's the German, the Canadian, and the UK one would probably keep working. But yeah, it depends on who's doing the 3.24 and who's working on 4.0. You know,
Yeah.
depends on the breakdown. I don't know the breakdown of the team, so yeah. All right. Apart from that, guys, anything else, Fred, you want to talk about before we jump off?
No, that's about it. I've had my weekly fight with you, so I think we're good.
It's not really a fight. And this is the thing, right, guys? Anybody that says, "Oh
Hey,
my god, you two don't disagree on anything," oh no, we do. We do disagree on things. And to be honest,
it's a weekly thing. That happens every week, so it's nothing new.
I wouldn't want it any other way because I don't want an echo chamber where people sit here and just agree with me. God, that'd be fucking boring.
That would be annoying. I got actually like,
Yeah. I want people to be able to push back on an ideas. And I'm not saying you're wrong or I'm right or I'm right and you're wrong or I'm wrong and you're right, whatever. But whatever way it goes. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, like I do think that a lot of YouTubers just do milk the situation when it's a bit of a low in content because they are just desperately like trying to make videos, and they do get people stirred up in these sort of like fucking stupid little things. And you know, like, could they become more upfront with communication? Probably, but also, I don't know many game companies that do as much as what CIG does. Like, dude, Atlas is a fucking disaster at the moment. I tried to install Atlas the other day just because I thought I might go back and play Pirates, and literally the game won't even load in. You make a character and you go to spawn in on the country on the island, and it just doesn't work. It just errors out.
lovely.
Inside Star Citizen is a dev diary for server meshing, and on Friday is Star Citizen Live Game Maker Missions Part 2. The server meshing stuff will be interesting for me, but yeah. Alright! Apart from that, anything else we want to say before we wrap up and I go and find out who was annoying me with my phone calls? No.
Someone was annoying you? Wait, what now?
My phone was ringing before.
Oh.
No. Alright, guys, apart from that, let us know what your thoughts are. Anything that we've talked about tonight, let us know in the comment section below, and we'll be sure to ignore you. Just kidding. But yeah, at the end of the day, let us know what your thoughts are, and we'll obviously go from there. And obviously, we'll be back next week, obviously talking about more gaming news, obviously, that's happened throughout the course of the week. And, well, we'll get to find out who was right, me or Ferrets, because he might actually be right about this with the whole US holiday. Might be next week, but I was thinking it's probably going to be this week with the who knows. Alright, apart from that, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. You want to say bye, friends?
Not really.
Alright, bye. I'll say bye to everybody. Bye.
Bye.